Hey, all you Arizona lovers. This is the Finding Arizona podcast, episode number 312. I'm your host, Jose. Thank you for listening. Today's episode is with actor Sean Dillingham. I am so excited to share this one with you guys. We have been taking a little bit of a break, if you have noticed, but it is because parenthood is making us very much change the schedule. So a lot of things are in the mix, but I just want to say we are continuing forward as much as we can. Thank you for staying tuned with us. So moving on, Sean was so incredible to talk to. We are very excited for his news to be shared with us and sharing with you guys as well. So we'll just get kicking off into things. You can hear every episode of our podcast at findingarizonapodcast.com. You can find us at social media wise, Finding Arizona Podcast. And then if you want to become a super fan, patreon.com/Finding Arizona Podcast. That's where you'll find bonus content. And I'm just so excited. I just want to get into this episode right away because Sean was so ecstatic on coming on the show and being a part of our show. So it just means so much to us when someone of his stature knows who we are, and we want to share his story just as much because he shared a lot with us of where he comes from and, you know, what his experience has been like in the world of acting in Hollywood. So just enjoy, sit back, and let's get into it. Catch you on the next one. Bye, y'all. Welcome back, everybody, to the Finding Arizona podcast. I'm your host, Jose. As always, we bring in very special guests, and today is no different. Ladies and gentlemen, as you could see from if you're watching us live, the faces, the tones, and I'm excited to say the voice is coming in. Ladies and gentlemen, actor Sean Dillingham.
Yes. Well, that's me. There you go. Hi, how are you?
Hey, how's it going, Sean? I appreciate you coming in first off. And I know it's a little bit different than what you're probably used to being in front of the camera, but hey, we're going to make it work for us. We're going to have some fun. We're going to just get to know you a little bit. And thank you again. Appreciate it for you coming in on a Saturday, on a weekend.
Hey, thank you. Thank you. I wanted to be on your podcast for a long time.
I appreciate that. I mean, I usually like to ask off air, but, I'll ask on air this time. How'd you find us? Because someone of your caliber,
I looked up top podcast. I mean, this sounds, kissing up, but it's true. I Googled top podcasts, Arizona, and you guys are right there. And not only that, but you guys presented such a well done, clean, professional format in the way you presented your information, the way it was marketed. And I was just like, not like, dude, come join my podcast. I'm sitting in my dad's lazy boy and we're going to talk about stuff. It was not that. So yeah, for a long, long time.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And that's just a testament of what we're doing here. And it's just a testament to the community at large too, to be able to spread that kind of word out there. So that is just you giving us the little bit of rundown of how you found us. I'm excited to get to know you a little bit more. I actually did my own research, so I know a little bit just from, glossary research, but I would love to hear it from the horse's mouth, as they say. Can you give us your origin story and how you got started?
Well, I think it all started. That sounds like the beginning of a movie, doesn't it? I grew up off and on, I want to say, in Arizona because my dad was in the military. So we'd live here for a while. Then we'd move to, San Francisco, the Presidio base. And then we'd live here and then we'd go to Georgia and then we'd come back. But I pretty much grew up in Yuma, Tucson, and Phoenix. Wow. And Yuma is a very small residential area and very sheltered life community. And I was a very shy kid, very, very shy kid. Didn't like big crowds, didn't like the center of attention or anything. And I was in elementary school, and it was one of those situations when you're in school where they're like, we're going to do a school play and you're going to be in it. Everybody, you didn't have a choice. They were like, okay, Jose, you're going to be the tree. I don't want to be the tree. You're going to be the tree. Everybody had to participate. And I was like, oh no. And I got on stage and for some reason, a switch flipped. And I was like, this isn't me. I'm being this character they want me to be. Yeah. And I was getting reactions from the audience, in grade school. And I was like, okay, kind of liking this. And around the same time in the 70s, Steve Martin was very big as a comedian. And to see him act that way, wild and crazy guy, I saw that by emulating that, people were laughing. And Robin Williams, of course, Mork and Mindy, same thing. And I was getting laughs in school. And I had great teachers that, when they were giving their lessons, I was like sort of like Don Rickles, we were reading books out loud and I was making comments about this friend and that friend. And the teacher was laughing and encouraging of it. And that had a big impact and continued on through high school theater and then community theater and then semi-professional theater.
Wow.
And then I was seen by an agent when I was doing a play at the Herberger, where I played a dog that eventually learned how to speak and then finally outgrew his owner and said, "I'm sorry, but I have to leave. I've outgrown this relationship." And she saw me go from a dog to the human type dog. And she said, the agent, "If you will do that, you'll do anything." So signed me and I started doing commercials and movies and onward and upward from there. That's kind of it in a nutshell.
Wow. It's what an incredible start to the story. I just want to say, like, I always like to hear that first bit because that is something that I think is just interesting to hear about, especially from the perspective of not only you, but also to look at it from the the person who found you. Because there's always someone who finds another person in this sort of situation, but it's just like where they find you at the point of like your what you're trying to create and what you want to do. And so it's just like, it's what a beautiful story.
It feels kind of like, you look back on it and you kind of think, it kind of meant to be. It feels like everything fell into place like it should have. When I was young, the movie that really did it for me was I saw the movie with Gene Kelly, Singing in the Rain. Oh. And it was one of those old MGM, big stages and beautiful bright colors. And they played actors. And I watched that and I was just like, oh my gosh, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do.
Wow.
And that was, another kind of arrow pointing me and pushing me in that direction.
Yeah, absolutely. That is something.
I had a great moment too. I got to tell you this. I had a great moment early on, which I'm really thankful that it happened because I was 22 and I got cast in a regional, which is a big deal, a regional commercial for a bank. And going into this, I used to think listen, I'm the actor and I am the most important thing here, people. I'm here now. The magic can begin.
Yes.
And when I got there around noon, my call time, these giant hulking men that had been building the sets came up and they were like, "All right, look, monkey boy, we've been here since 5 this morning. Okay. We've been here since 5 this morning and we really want to go to lunch. So don't mess up your lines and get it right. Okay." And I realized at that point, I am the least important thing here. That light has more of a purpose. And it was good. It humbled me. And it made me realize, you know what? You're not it, man. You are one small cog in a very much larger machine.
Yeah.
So be a team player. Be
Absolutely.
a team player. So
beautiful
that
moment.
Awesome. Yeah. Oh, I thank goodness that it happened.
And I love again, you as a voice actor too. It's just like really great for me to kind of be able to just let it be and let you tell the story from that angle too, because it's like no one could have said it better. It's just like, here, monkey boy, listen up. This is what really is going down. I'm like, that's perfect. True. Perfect accent.
He's telling me this and I'm like, okay. I like your belt buckle.
It's nice. Oh man, that's so awesome. And then as you've grown and as you've kind of developed and as you've stretched yourself, I just kind of want to, ask this question as someone who's watching you from the sideline and as someone who's just kind of a participant and just viewing, these things that I've kind of witnessed or kind of heard through, other YouTubes and other conversations and other podcasts is actors are dealing with a lot of layers. They not only have to deal with trying to get the job and trying to become a character, but it's also something that they're also trying to find their own style. They're also trying to find characters that they want to participate in. And there's all these other things that are, in their lives as well, molding and stretching and things like that. For you, I want to know, where was that like aha moment where it's just like this one, was it a character? Was it a scene? Was it something where you're just like, well, man, I really think that I have a real chance of this working out in my favor for the long run?
I don't think there was an aha moment. I think that, listen, I've done a lot, 130 plus commercials and 70 films and TV shows and all that. And I got to be honest with you, I think right now I'm starting to get it.
Nice.
I'm starting to get it. It takes, when I see, listen, it just takes a lot of experience and a lot of different things. You need situations, and you need experience, and you need opportunities to create who you are, who you want to be.
Yeah.
And, I look at my earlier stuff and I'm like, oh, I was just going on energy. It was just, how can I be big? What do you want? I'll do that. Okay. And I look at the stuff I do now, and I got cast for a lot of comedy things, which, to me, having done improv and comedy and all that, comedy is easy. I didn't want to. When I started acting more, I didn't want to do comedy. Comedy is like, come in, fall down, ha ha ha. But to have a camera this close to your face and change your tone and change the pacing and know exactly what muscles to move on your face and when to blink and not blink, it's a whole different medium to be that intimate with the camera and go, I don't have to be big. So I don't know if there was necessarily an aha moment.
It doesn't have to be. I just was curious.
Yeah. Trials and tribulations. I look at it now, the body of work I've accumulated so far. And there's a couple things that I'm like, that's really good. There's a lot of things I'm like, please burn the master, please. Please. But all you can do is go in, do it, and do your best, and then hope that in editing it doesn't get messed up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I just want to, that's the other aspect of it. It's a lot of pieces are out of your hand too. It's just like, it's so introspective to kind of look at the whole picture, and you, as you want to say, the cog, but it's like, again, everyone has to be on an A game for any of this. It's all a crapshoot. It's like, really, it's like everyone has to be on the A game to make an A thing. And anywhere down the line, if there's one or two mess ups. Yeah.
And so, you gotta be, I mean, I tell actors, cause I work with and train actors now. And I'm like, you gotta think of yourself as a Navy SEAL, which means you gotta be constantly training, constantly learning new skills. Cause you never know, in the middle of the night, you might get that call. I was working one time with a bullwhip out front of my house. My cul-de-sac was just like, what is wrong with this guy? I got a 10-foot bullwhip cracking it like Indiana Jones. And my wife says to me, when are you ever going to need this? And I'm like, you never know. And within a week, I saw a casting they were looking for a bullwhip practitioner for the next Britney Spears video. And I was, nice. Boy, did I win that argument. But the fact of the matter is, you got to tell actors, you always have to, if you're not acting, you should be training.
Yeah.
And I don't mean just acting classes, which are great, but you have to learn how to ride a pogo stick, how to ride a tandem bike, how to rock climb, how to swim, high dive, load everything. Because those are the calls you'll get. Yeah. Hey, we need two guys in this age range that can ride a tandem bike together, or that can, we need experienced kayak worker. You never know.
Yeah. And if it's not physical, it's the verbal too. If you want an accent, if you need, language, if you need, something else of like that caliber, you need to stretch and grow in that. You need to have those little aces there.
It's true. And even if it doesn't ever come into play for you, it at the very least, it makes you a more interesting human being. Yeah. You know how many casting directors you walk into a casting section and they're like, hi, Jose, tell me about yourself. Well, I'm an actor and I love to act. And when I'm not acting, I think about acting. And they're like, okay, so you're shallow. Do you have anything else in your life? They're like, you just read and go away. But if you go in and you like, tell us about yourself. You're like, well, I just went cave diving in Cancun. They're like, forget the audition. Tell us about that. And now you've shown them that you're an interesting person, but B, you have the ears of the room for the next 5 minutes. So they get to know you instead of just read the lines. Just read the lines.
I love that.
So if there's more to it than just, that's why I say as you grow and you get older, you get experience. I see younger actors in roles that I'm like, they shouldn't be in that, because I see them and I'm like, they don't have any life experience under them. I don't think an actor gets really interesting, honestly, until they get older. You give me now a Denzel Washington, a Dustin Hoffman, a Robert De Niro, Gene Hackman. He's retired, unfortunately, but those actors, Morgan Freeman, with some age on their face, and they speak, and you're like, this guy has some years under him. I believe him. I see younger actors. I'm like,
Okay.
Doesn't do anything for me. But you need that life experience, and that's doing things. So when you bring it to the role, they're like, have you ever done it? Yes, I have. Mm-hmm. I have gone mountain climbing in the Alps before. Yes, I have.
I love that. I love that kind of makes me want to ask you some of the things of like, some of the other elements that you would probably have to kind of cater to for your students. Is there anything else that you can kind of give us as you broach? I don't want you to give too much of your classes away, but is there something else that you can kind of give us insight
here's the
about?
thing. This is the first thing I tell anybody that wants to be an actor. Job number one, be directable.
Okay.
Be directable, because if you and I are going to act and I'm going to help you expand your emotional palette, and you're going to fight me like, I can't do that. No, I can't do it. Then why are you here?
Yes.
I'm your personal trainer.
Yeah.
So in the gym, you would listen to me if I said, do another rep. Mm-hmm. Do another rep. Mm-hmm. I'm not asking you anything less. Absolutely. And a lot of people will dig their heels in and go, oh yeah, I don't feel comfortable there. No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to. And I'm like, you got to. If you can't push you, let me push you.
Yep.
You have to do that.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, you're not going to grow. And people have to unlearn a lot of things. Little things like in real life, you get upset. The natural thing, you're like about to cry and you go, and we cover our face because we're like, I can't show emotion in public. Or you get mad and you go, oh. And I'm like, you got to keep your face forward. You get little things like that. You can't cover up. You can't do the things you naturally do. Yeah. You have to do them for the camera. So as awkward as it's going to feel, you got to make an ugly cry face and let the tears start streaming and go, I don't like it. You got to do that.
I get it.
Another little thing on camera. People don't understand this. And that's a little physical tip. Stop blinking. Because when you blink, in real life, we think we're exuding sincerity. Jose, I listen. I really, really mean it. But when you do that on film, it exudes weakness. You go, I think we should do that. And I'm supposed to be the bad guy but if I look at you and I'm not blinking and I'm still not blinking, this is where everybody's eyes naturally get drawn to. And you do that in commercials. You only got 30 seconds. Hey, let me tell you about the new 2022 Honda Accord. It's a great new vehicle. You're going to want to. You don't have time to do this. Because people are like, what's wrong with this guy? I can't figure it out.
Yeah.
Little things like that.
I love that. Oh my gosh, this is so good. I thank you so much for at least giving me those little tidbits, because now I can start to realize that. I can start to see that. There was someone else that was saying something that he liked to enjoy watching. I watched an actor doing, I think he said he enjoyed watching people try and eat while, when it's an eating scene, if they eat their food or not eat or swallow their food or something like that, because it's like, it's difficult to pretend eat or something like that, or trying to.
And they tell you when you do things, I have these fake props that I use for auditions all the time, but they tell you during scenes, if you're going to smoke, don't. Because you're going to have this long speech and you go, okay, Jose, when we're done here, we're going to go to the bank. And then after we're done at the bank, then we're going to go to the store. How's that sound? And then they go, let's do another take. And you go, when did I take a draw? Did I say it before I said that? And what about the fact that now the cigarette started here and now it's here? Yeah. So that's called continuity. And you really don't want to mess that up, because then when they get into the editing room, they're going to go, he's taking a drag different every time.
Yeah.
And now the cigarette's gone long to short to, I can't tell you how many movies I watch where there's a dinner scene and I'm like, they got food. Now look at the next scene. The food's gone. Now the next scene, their wine glass is full. Next scene, now the wine's empty. Oh, yep. Somebody's getting fired. I'll tell you that. Somebody's getting fired.
Someone's mad. Like
the
editor was like, I just can't. I
just can't edit this out. You got to watch those little nuances. You got to really plan that out. It takes a lot. Film acting is, people go, oh, you just talk, man. It's just talk. I'm like, it's a whole different animal. Yeah, I do things to my voice. Like this is my normal speaking voice. To me, it sounds really nasally. But whenever I have to play a bad guy, I can lower my pitch and I can slow it down a little.
Nice.
Sound a little more intimidating. What do you think?
Yeah, I like it a lot.
People go, hey, man, I really love your voice. I'm like, not my voice. It's really not my voice. Just acting. Because that's what I do to play the bad guy.
Nice.
Going to talk a little deeper and a little slower.
Yeah.
So little things like that.
You've done, like, from my research, you've done everything from writing to, producing and directing and things like that. Yeah. And so, you have a lot of, you've had all the hats underneath your belt. And so that's really great for me to kind of have someone who's been in all of the seats, because you can kind of fill in as we need any information. But one of the things I want to get into is, like, we talked about the editing side. You're doing TikToks. I want to get into that. Like, you're doing TikToks and it's really wonderful with your family and everything like that. There's a level of editing that you have to personalize with these TikToks. Are you in charge of that? Are you in charge?
No, thank goodness I have two young sons that they're like, okay, Dad, do this. And then they edit it and they're like, you can back the audio up so it's more in sync. And I'm like, and they're like, let me show you so you know. I'm like, no, just make it go. Just do it. Just make it go. I'm not worried about the TikTok. Just go. Just do it. I'll just do the stupid stuff. You handle that. But people like it, man. I've done some impressions on there, some Chris Farley impressions and, ridiculous comedy things that people really like and respond to. So that's fun.
It's really funny. And I really find it great for an actor to kind of have their real, like, it's just like a level of, like, give personalization of who you are as an individual. Yeah. And it's just really great for everyone to check out. Because I asked that, it's just really a approach for me to kind of ask about the family life and how, we can get a little bit more personal with you, and how everyone knows an actor leaves to go to work and as travels, and this is an element of that lifestyle.
Yeah.
Can you give us a little insight of, like, that balance of when you come back home and what you do as a family man to kind of help your family understand that lifestyle?
Well, first of all, the anchor in my family is my wife. We all orbit her, and she's not my rock. She's everybody's rock. And there's a lot of times that I have to travel that I ask her, please go with me. Because sometimes I'm gone 2 weeks or more and it's miserable. It sounds like, you're really traveling. I'm like, you sit in a hotel room for 2 weeks by yourself. It's miserable. I was just in Utah shooting a movie and it was blue and sunny. And the next day I woke up and my rental car looked like an igloo. And the guy who was my driver was like, yeah, we haven't had this kind of snow since the 70s. And I'm like, and I hate the cold. I mean, it gets like 73 and I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me with this cold weather? I mean, I'm the 118. I'm like, all right, that's me.
The lizard on top of the rock.
Yeah. I'm the guy out there. They're like, you're getting a lovely shade of melanoma. You should come in now. But my wife she's the anchor and the rock. And, like I said, if it wasn't for her, we'd all go into chaos.
Yeah.
She's tolerant. She's smart. She's so handy. I mean, I just do stupid stuff in front of a camera, but she's the anchor. And listen, the one time you're going to hear anything in my house, if there's a problem, you're not going to hear Dad, you're going to hear Mom.
It's really great. I mean, it's like, I'm really happy that you have someone in your life that's just really kind of making that part of your world great and steady and forward. For yourself. I'll be honest, I'm a first time father, and everyone who's listened to this podcast knows that. And so I'm kind of curious, for someone who's, you're dad times over, you have more than one kid, meaning that. And I just wanted to know, from how do you give them, your son, especially, the conversation, you sit them down, like, Dad has to go to work. you're in charge, or I will be home, like, those types of things. Like, I have to keep leaving the household, but I'm working. Please understand that.
Well, thankfully, my kids take after my wife. So they're understanding, they're mature, they're responsible. They're the best kids in the world. They really are. I'll leave and come back. They'll have cleaned the entire house. The laundry's done. Dishes are done. Dishwasher's unloaded. I'm just like, sometimes you come back and you're like, wow, I guess you guys really don't need me. Yeah. Go away then. But they're just like their mom. They're super reliable, responsible, every positive thing you could possibly say. They're awesome. Understanding, and they understand that what I do, and this is the problem with a lot of people that are like, I want to be an actor. I'm like, do you want to be an actor or do you want to be a movie star? Because there's a big difference. Mm-hmm. A movie star shows up to the premiere in the limo, walks the red carpet, and goes back to their mansion. An actor acts. Yeah. An actor, this, let me tell you something. This is a very gypsy lifestyle. You will never act in the same place twice. Yep. I just went on a road trip where I was in San Diego and then Santa Fe, then Vegas, then Utah. Now the big thing I was going to tell you about, I'll tell you about in a minute. It's just, you're constantly traveling and going, but they understand, that's how I earn a living. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I have to do. I have to teach people online classes. I have to travel to this place. I have to travel to that place. This is my job. It'd be no different if I was a trucker. Yeah. I got to get on the road. Yep. It's what buys you guys the food. Yeah. And then we get to sit around and watch something on television, and you get to look and I get to do this. Oh. So there you go. Awesome. Yeah. I mean, again, let's get into it. You keep I've had this kind of tease at me, right? So I want to get into it. What is the news? Well, things are going. I'm gonna knock on wood real quick. Things are going in a good, positive direction. I've been landing roles that are bigger and bigger, higher production value, bigger characters. I just did one in Vegas that I'm really proud of the performance. But again, once you do it, you never know what they're going to edit it with. Prior to that, I was up in Utah for a couple of weeks shooting this new Netflix movie with Lindsay Lohan, which I guess they're touting it as that's going to be her big comeback movie. Ooh. So, and it was like a cast of 6 of us, which was huge. I'm seeing the press releases and I'm like, hey, that's me. All right. Nice. And then I just got a audition request from a producer for Amazon movie to play the lead in it. Big movie that is like, I hope you like to travel because this is going to shoot in Europe. Whoa. So I'm seeing that kind of like that step up in opportunities, but it's taken a long time and just bulldoggedness, if you will. I always say, you got to keep hustling. I land one thing and I don't sit back and go, I got it, man. I go, I need to get on the computer and keep submitting and calling and keep hustling. You got to, Yeah, it's a good mentality to have. I mean, sometimes, that hustle is what's going to keep you in the doors. And like I said, I mean, you're only as good as your last scene. So just like a boxer, you're only as good as your last fight. You're only as good as your last project. It doesn't matter the credits I have, because I look at my resume, long resume, credits like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, This Is Us, Yellowstone, blah, blah, blah. And something that sounds good, but it doesn't matter because the next audition, no matter what it is, I go in and I have those credits and they go, wow, you've really been on some stuff. Cool. Okay. So what can you bring to us? Yeah. And now guess what? I got to prove it all over again. Absolutely. This is a job of nothing but job interviews. It really is. And being told no 90% of the time. You're too young. You're too old. You're too fat. You're too skinny, too short, too tall. It's just, it's a lose-lose situation. So you got to keep pounding away. And not to say it's like there's one level of thick skin, but it's another level of just like let it slide off the back sort of thing. It's just like it's a little combo of both, but it's like, again, I feel for you. I feel for you, Sean, and I'm also excited for you. Bryan Cranston said something great. It's a great advice for actors, and that is they said, what acting advice would you give to actors, in the business or just getting started? And he said, never go into any audition for anything desperate. Like, I really, really need this job. I really want to get this job, because if you do, they will smell it. They'll smell that desperation. Go in and just look at it like, this is my little 5-minute performance piece. Whether they like it or not, I don't care. I just get my 5 minutes to perform and do my thing and then leave it. And I was like, that's great advice.
That is
so many people go into it like, oh, please, I really need this. Please.
It's the end of the rope.
I told myself, if I don't get this one, I'm quitting. And you can't.
Yeah. Can't do that.
Because opportunity could be just around the corner.
Yeah. And I look at, I just want to say, like, you're about to travel. I'm just like, congratulations. I just want to give you a moment of like, I want to applaud you and I want to give you a pat on the back, buddy. And it's just like, it's really great. I have never in my life, I was in a school play, and I think it was The Music Man, it was called. And I played a townsperson. I enjoyed it. Sure. I love being in front of the camera. I love talking to people. I love doing it. And I think there is a level of definite skill to it that I need to learn, get better at. But if it ever came down where someone's like, hey, you want to try it? And I'm like, yes, let's do it. I'd be happy to. Yeah. So it's exciting to see someone actually do it and talk to them and see how they're feeling and how it's making them.
I love it. I wouldn't change it for anything in the world. And people go, do you really like what you do? You travel, you're on the, and I'm like, I love it. You know why? Because every day it's a different job.
Beautiful.
Every day they're like, tomorrow you're playing a comedian. The next day you're a cowboy. The day after that, you're going to be a gangster. Then it's fantastic. It's pretend time for adults all the time. And I love it.
And it just means a lot that you would want to share some of that story with us and just kind of how it came to your life and how it's affecting you and your family. So thank you again for allowing us to kind of just have this with you. And I'm definitely gonna I see the IMDb list in front of me. I'm definitely going to check out more because, again, it's like you have a lot of post-production filming currently. It's just like a lot of things to be announced. And I want you to know I'm here backing you as someone from your home state. And I want everyone else who is watching this to just go check out the IMDb and just, run through the whole gauntlet. If you can watch every single one of these, like I want them to do it. Yeah. Thank you again. You've changed, what I look at as far as acting and actors and everyone of that caliber in that field. So again, you've opened up a new door for me. If we can, I'm always saying to everyone, we're an open door policy. So if we can get more actors like yourself who are interested in coming in that have, again, who want to share their story like you, who are doing things that they want to, bring out and want to share with us. I'm happy to do that. Directors, producers, run the gamut. Let's do it.
Absolutely.
So I usually keep the last bit here to you to let everyone know, you've already told us one thing coming down the line, but let us know what's your TikTok handle, where can they find you online and everything.
I gotta go get my kids. Let's see. TikTok. I just started one for me, Sean Dillingham, actor.
Okay, nice.
And then our regular one is at Cali Girl at Heart. My wife started that one.
Oh, awesome. And then they can also look you up right here on Sean Dillingham on IMDb. I just want people to go and check out the name, the actor, the man himself. Thank you again for coming on our podcast. I really do appreciate it. Before we go, we always say kisses, hugs, and belly rubs. Do you want to do it in the Sean Dillingham voice?
Kisses, rubs, and belly hugs to everyone.
Yes, thank you so much, Sean. I appreciate it. You have a wonderful night, and we will catch you on the next episode. Bye, y'all.